the lecture series.
Namaskar, I'm Kafle, a very familiar face from Kathmandu University School of Education. Probably many of you have already watched my lectures in the past. I have, as you have seen, tried to speak on the ideas that are beneficial for teachers. Basically, I have a commitment. Since I am a teacher, whatever I say should benefit the teachers. Not in the sense that I have an intention to teach everybody, but to share the experiences, my new learnings that might go to the practices of people of my profession. So, today I will be focusing on adaptive pedagogy. So, I might switch to Nepali and constantly do code switching as for the convenience, but I don't want to be very much rigid about language. Adaptive pedagogy. सुन्दाखेरि अति नयाँ पनि लाग्छ र अति कमन प्लेस पनि लाग्छ. एड्याप्टिभ भन्ने शब्द चाहिँ परिस्थिति अनुसार आफूलाई ढाल्ने, अनुकूलन गर्ने भन्छन्. अनुकूलनशील शिक्षण सिकाइ भने पनि भयो. This is and I will be basically dealing with two aspects of adaptive pedagogy. These two aspects are teacher competency and teaching expertise. This is the premise. Okay, how did I come up with this idea? Little bit of story. And that tells how I use artificial intelligence tools. मलाई AI प्रयोग गर्न अलिकति मोर क्रिएटिभली इनोभेटिभली प्रयोग गर्न इन्ट्रेस्ट छ. मलाई प्राय नर्मल्ली सोचिरहेको बेला if I end up with some kind of curiosity, the curiosity मेरो अलिकति acute भयो भने, deep भयो भने मैले I go to one of the tools. To tell you the truth, I basically use Claude, then Copilot, sometimes Gemini, and other times Perplexity or ChatGPT. I have no reason for this hierarchy. I use this in terms of convenience or what is there popping up on my laptop or on my mobile phone. So, what I do is मलाई कहिलेकाहीँ केही आइडियाहरू क्लिक हुन्छ अनि त्यो सम्भव छ कि छैन भनेर यस्तो आइडिया पनि हुन्छ कतै कसैले प्रयोग गरेको छ, कहीँ लेखिएको छ, किताब छन्, लेखहरू छन् कि छैनन् भनेर खोजी गर्दै जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ the first thing I do is ask the AI. So, one fine day I had this idea, epistemic juxtaposition भन्ने टर्म हुन्छ कि हुँदैन भनेर. एपिस्टेमिक जक्स्टापोजिसन, एपिस्टेमिक भन्नाले नलेज भयो, नलेजसँग सम्बन्धित. जक्स्टापोजिसन भनेको सँगसँगै राखेर अथवा तुलनात्मक एउटा फ्रेममा राखेर, कम्पेरेटिभ फ्रेममा राखेर कुनै विचारलाई हेर्नु भनेको. जस्तै एपिस्टेमिक जक्स्टापोजिसन भन्ने टर्म छ कि छैन भनेर सोधेको, त्यति धेरै त प्रयोग गर्दैनन् तर प्रयोग गर्न सकिन्छ भन्यो एउटाले. A tool, an AI tool said that. Then why not look for the extensive meaning of the idea of epistemic juxtaposition, and that simply meant you put two binaries together and look for a possible extended meaning of that binary. For example, you can say this academic childishness. If you put these two words together, academic childishness, maybe a little more formal term for that would be intellectual puerility. So, many such terms like professional communism, intellectual puerility, digital romanticism, parochial elitism, so many such terms I usually put together and see whether there are books written about this, whether there are articles published about this, whether anyone is carrying out a research, academic research on these kinds of theories or let's say concepts, or whether these lead to a theory or these are informed by any academic theory. So, one day I was looking for the idea like assertive scholarship or emphatic pedagogy. So, I asked one of the AI tools, is there any concept extensively used in academia, the concept like emphatic pedagogy? The tool said, I am not aware any formal application of such a concept, emphatic pedagogy, but you might go for an alternative. There can be an alternative idea. The alternative could be adaptive teacher competency or adaptive teaching expertise. So, if you go for these kinds of theories or concepts, probably what you are looking for will be substantiated. So, I do this with one simple maxim, one idea, because in absence of a resourceful mentor or a resource-filled learning center, the first thing a scholar, a teacher or a student, anybody nowadays does is ask any AI platform for the information, but very much judiciously, consciously, critically, with the bottom line of not being carried away by what it says, but being selective about the authenticity of information. So, I do that, and when this idea adaptive teacher competency and adaptive teaching expertise, I landed in these ideas, I decided to go for an extensive study, and I found that it's a very much useful as a guideline, as a knowledge that has the embedded aspects of teaching skills and classroom management aspects. So, I decided to go for this, and as a few sessions, after a few sessions, I thought about sharing these ideas with my other audience, basically my teacher friends. यसको कथा त्यही हो। मैले अघि भने जब वरपर एकदम भरपर्दा सोध्ने आफूभन्दा जान्ने मान्छेहरू छैनन्, तुरुन्तै कुनै एउटा आफ्नो जिज्ञासा मेटाउनको लागि भने मैले चाहिँ एआई को टुल्सहरूलाई साथी बनाउने गरेको छु। तर त्यसबाट म बहकिन्न, आफूले खोजी गर्छु, अझ बढी खोजी गर्छु र मूलतः म किताब नै माग्छु, अथवा कुन राइटरले भर्खरै कुनै पब्लिस भएको किताब छ अथवा रिसर्च चलिरहेछ, आर्टिकल लेखिएको छ, मलाई त्यो भन्देऊ न भन्दाखेरि उसले चाहिँ ल भनेर लिस्ट तयार गर्छ अनि त्यसको खोजी गर्छु अनि म मान्छेमा पुग्छु। यदि सम्पर्क गर्न सक्यो भने त्यो स्कलरसँग म डाइरेक्ट कन्ट्याक्ट गर्छु अथवा कुनै न कुनै तरिकाले त्यो किताबमा इन्कर गर्छु। यसरी एआई टुलको प्रयोग गर्ने क्रममा यो दुईटा कन्सेप्ट, एडाप्टिभ टिचर कम्पिटेन्सी र एडाप्टिभ टिचिङ एक्सपर्टिज, एन्ड द बेसिक idea here is the difference between competency and expertise. टिचरमा विकास हुनुपर्ने दक्षता अनि बिस्तारै विकास हुनुपर्ने विशेषज्ञता, त्यो हो। अब को दक्ष को विशेषज्ञ भन्ने पक्षहरू बुझ्नको लागि चाहिँ यो दुईटा कन्सेप्टको, अब यसैलाई मैले भन्ने गरेँ एपिस्टेमिक जक्स्टपोजिसन, दुईटा कन्सेप्टलाई, नलेजको डोमेनलाई सँगसँगै राखेर हेर्ने, जक्स्टपोज भनेको चाहिँ सँगसँगै राखेर हेर्ने, एन्ड ट्राई टु सी अ थिन लाइन अफ डिस्टिङसन बिट्विन दिस टु। यी बिचमा कस्ता भिन्नताहरू हुन्छन् र कुन तहको मान्छेले कुन तहको अनुभव गरिरहेको हुन्छ, यी दुईटा मध्ये कम्पिटेन्सी र एक्सपर्टिजको कुरा। यी विषयहरू एकदम हाइली थियोरिटिकल्ली लोडेड पनि हुन् र कुनै पनि अरू थियोरी, कुनै पनि अरू सिद्धान्तहरू नबुझिकन पनि यी सिद्धान्तहरू अथवा यी भनाइहरू, यी मान्यताहरू बुझ्न सकिन्छ। ओके, सो लेट अस गो फर एडाप्टिभ टिचर कम्पिटेन्सी। यो भनेको चाहिँ नेपालीमा भन्दा अनुकूलनशील शिक्षक दक्षता हो। आवश्यकता सन्दर्भ अनुसार अध्ययन गरेर बुझेर आफ्नो शैली परिवर्तन गर्न सक्ने, आफ्नो शैली ढाल्न सक्ने र आफ्ना सामग्रीहरू निर्माण गर्न सक्ने क्षमता, त्यसलाई चाहिँ अनुकूलनशील दक्षता, शिक्षक दक्षता भन्छ। टिचर कम्पिटेन्सी, इट्स अ मोर फोकस टु द पर्सन एज अ टिचर, द टिचर एज अ पर्सन, एज अ knowledgeable, evolving, learning oriented person. यसका चारवटा एस्पेक्ट हुन्छ। 4 aspects are mentioned in this. So I got this idea in an article published, prepared by Broweller and Vogt in 2020. So 4 dimensions of adaptive teacher competency. The first is content knowledge. It's a very familiar idea, which includes curriculum, syllabus, lesson plan, assessment scheme, and these aspects are mostly fixed and predetermined in terms of the component of this curriculum system. So the teacher has very little privilege or possibility of manipulating these aspects. Content knowledge, पढाउनु पर्ने मुख्य विषयवस्तु सामग्रीको कुरा भयो। अब एउटा टिचरले आफ्नो कम्पिटेन्सीमा डेभलप गर्नुपर्ने अर्को महत्त्वपूर्ण पाटो चाहिँ डायग्नोस्टिक कम्पिटेन्सी भन्ने हुँदो रहेछ। डायग्नोसिस गर्न सक्ने, आफ्नो कामको स्कोप, परिधि बुझ्न अथवा परीक्षण गर्न, पत्ता लगाउन सक्ने, डायग्नोस्टिक, like a physician does that in a clinic. Checking the learning prerequisites for learning goals, or monitoring the achievement related to curricular goals. Also tracking students' progress in terms of their, let's say, formal assessment achievements, every assessment, after every evaluation milestone. विद्यार्थीको अथवा क्लासको आवश्यकता बुझ्न सक्ने, परीक्षण गर्न सक्ने, खोजी गर्न सक्ने त्यो क्षमता, दक्षता, त्यसलाई डायग्नोस्टिक कम्पिटेन्सी। अर्को चाहिँ डाइड्याक्टिक कम्पिटेन्सी। एक्ज्याक्टली द्याट इज हाउ यु डेलिभर एन्ड सेयर द कन्टेन्ट एन्ड योर कन्फिडेन्स अर इम्प्रेसन बेस्ड अन योर डायग्नोसिस अफ स्टुडेन्ट्स निड्स। डाइड्याक्टिक भन्नाले वास्तवमा पढाउन सक्ने क्षमता, डेलिभर गर्न, प्रस्तुत गर्न सक्ने, विचारहरू बाँड्न सक्ने, इन्कल्केट गर्न सक्ने क्षमता, द्याट इज डाइड्याक्टिक कम्पिटेन्सी। अर्को, द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्ट पिलर अफ टिचर कम्पिटेन्सी इज क्लासरुम म्यानेजमेन्ट। दिस इज द फाउन्डेसन फर अ स्मुथ डेलिभरी एन्ड रिसेप्सन अफ आइडियाज or participation in the instructions, I mean the activities done according to the instruction by the teacher. र क्लासरुम म्यानेजमेन्ट, कक्षा व्यवस्थापन एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण पक्ष यो टिचर कम्पिटेन्सीमा छ। कन्टेन्ट नलेज, डायग्नोस्टिक कम्पिटेन्सी, डाइड्याक्टिक कम्पिटेन्सी र क्लासरुम म्यानेजमेन्ट, यो चाहिँ टिचर कम्पिटेन्सीको डाइमेन्सन्सहरू भए। अब टिचिङ एक्सपर्टिज, this is another important aspect of my search for this epistemic juxtaposition. अब कम्पिटेन्सीबाट एक्सपर्टिजमा पुग्दाखेरि यसलाई अलिकति म कम्पेरिटिभली पछि हेर्छु। जब विशेषज्ञता शिक्षकको रूपमा हासिल गरेको हुन्छ, टिचिङ एक्सपर्टिज, what aspects are manifest in a person's knowledge or orientation. So 3 aspects or 3 layers are identified in this teaching expertise. The first layer, एउटा शिक्षकको काममा, पर्फर्मेन्समा 3 वटा तह हुन्छन् भन्छ यसले चाहिँ। पहिलो तह चाहिँ इन्स्ट्रक्सनल प्र्याक्टिस सिस्टम। यसको अर्थ observable actions, visible actions managed or acted upon by the teacher during that delivery of a lesson plan. So these are the tangible, visible, observable, okay, in a sense worth listening, or that are heard, that are seen, that are even sometimes tossed or felt because they are physically happening inside the classroom. The apparent evidence of teacher's performance in the visible layer, or you can call it in the surface layer, instructional practice system. So, the second layer, semi-visible layer, is the epistemic tool system. When we say epistemic tools, these are the intangible but semi-tangible aspects of teacher's knowledge and skill, more related with delivery, knowledge sharing than activities. So, competent use of language, dialogue, argument, and these are intricated or in a sense embedded in the teacher's ability to share knowledge and idea and concepts, and sometimes that become manifest in the way the teacher generalizes ideas from examples or brings examples from the general theories or concepts. So, that kind of inductive deductive movement of ideas that the teacher can practice in the class to the level of students' understanding even of a complex idea. This is called epistemic tool system. So, which is a semi-visible layer, semi-visible in the sense you can hear that, you can see that done, and the moment you understand, you begin to see that. But the third aspect, the orientation system, which is called an invisible or latent or tacit layer of teacher's expertise, involves the embedding of or involvement in the sense implicit involvement of knowledge, reality, ethics, or whatever you can call unspoken beliefs and orientation towards the realities of life, culture, and even about future career, social values, personal grooming, a family bond, or sometimes even these abstract philosophical ideas like nationalism, patriotism, universal brotherhood, sovereignty. These overarching value systems or ethical principles that have been embedded in these first two layers, instructional practice system, epistemic tool system, and orientation system. So, an expert not only teaches knowledge or not only trains somebody with skills, but also transfers values and tries to transform people's lives. So, that is somehow the difference. When you acquire adaptive teacher competency, you become a competent teacher who teaches efficiently. So, the aspects of adaptive teacher competency are the aspects developed through exposure, training, and regular monitoring by a mentor. You are not necessarily developed already as a mentor, but you are a good performer. These components of adaptive teacher competency signify the knowledge and skills necessary to perform teaching reliably and correctly. And these are the performance indicators like content knowledge, diagnostic competency, didactic competency, classroom management. But what about adaptive teaching expertise? Expertise comes next to competency through extensive experience and practice. And these three layers of adaptive teaching expertise, instructional practice system, epistemic tool system, and orientation system, become manifest in a teacher once he or she has developed the ability and passion for teaching, as far as being able to mentor other teachers. So, you can see adaptive teacher competency is more related with dealing with classes and educating students. Adaptive teaching expertise is more related with mentorship and educating teachers or teaching teachers. So, these are the aspects of teacher education. I mean, adaptive teaching expertise leads to teacher education ability. Adaptive teacher competency leads to teaching students in ordinary or normal classes. Okay. So, competent teachers teach efficiently. Expert teachers not only teach efficiently, but also develop efficient teachers. So, you can take this very ordinary example of like being a player with all the rules and skills of playing is like being competent player. But when you are an expert player, you are not only a player, but also a coach. So, an established and highly trusted player is trusted as a coach for the players. So, overall, my intention today was to introduce two beautiful ideas, and obviously, if needed, we can take more sessions to explain these and how these can be manifested in, let's say, beginning teachers, and how the first aspect can be more, in a sense, professionalized in the performance of a budding teacher, and the second aspect is very important for those who would like to be teacher educators and teacher trainers. So, overall, both are related with a teacher's continuous professional development. I would stop here, and I would invite feedback and comment from all my audience. If I have to explain more, we can do another session in the future. Thank you for now. Namaskar.
The lecture series.